I have undeniable proof that my golden child sister is after my boyfriend, and my parents couldn't care less. I have got evidence that my golden child sister, Hannah, has her eye on my boyfriend, and the worst part is my parents do not seem to give a damn. Right now, we are living together, me and her. She started her first year of college a few months back, and my folks thought it would be a great idea if she moved in with me. First off, her college is in the same town where I work, and second, I had been looking for a roommate anyway. Truth be told, me and Hannah are not that close, and I do not have the best relationship with my parents either, but I figured maybe living together would help us bond a little. Plus, there was no way she could swing rent on her own, so I felt like I was doing her a favor. That is what family is supposed to do, right? But ever since my boyfriend started coming over to my place, Hannah has been acting downright inappropriate. Whenever he is here and we are hanging out, whether we are cooking dinner or watching television, she somehow always manages to walk around half naked. She does not even try to hide it. Most of the time, she is strutting around in her underwear, sometimes just a tiny thong and some skimpy tank top. My boyfriend, who I have been with for 3 years now, handles it better than I would have expected. He usually just looks away, pretends not to notice. I have already told Hannah, clear as day, that it is not okay to be walking around dressed like that when I have company over, especially my boyfriend. And funny enough, she never pulls this stunt when anyone else is here, just him. When I called her out, she brushed it off, saying my boyfriend is basically like family and should not care. Her excuse is always that she wants to be comfortable in her own home. It does not stop there either. Whenever me and my boyfriend go to my room to have some alone time, she finds some excuse to come knocking, barging in, or interrupting. It does not even matter if we are just talking or, well, doing other things, she always comes up with something. Sometimes she says she is lonely and wants all 3 of us to hang out, but only after she realizes we have gone to my room. Other times, she suddenly needs something urgent, like the time she asked him to kill a spider in her room. I have told her over and over to leave us alone when we go into my room, but it just goes in one ear and out the other. My boyfriend even told me that when I am out of the room, like if I am in the shower or making a call, she will slip in and start the weirdest conversations with him. She asks about his favorite sex positions or tries to guess how many girls he has been with. She even told him guys back in her high school always wanted to hook up with her. Sometimes, she will come in wearing something tight and ask him straight up if she looks hot. He told me he either ignores her completely or shuts her down by saying he does not want to have that kind of conversation with her. The final straw came the other day when I went into her room to grab my makeup and perfume, stuff she keeps borrowing without asking. Her laptop was wide open, and her Facebook chat was sitting right there. I would not have snooped, except I saw my boyfriend's face in the chat window, so yeah, I read it. She was talking to her best friend, and I will never forget what I saw. Hannah was practically giddy, saying how excited she was because my boyfriend was coming over. Then she asked her friend if she wanted to hit the mall to help her pick out something sexy to wear. Her friend called her crazy and asked if she thought he was too old for her. Hannah blew that off, saying 24 was not old at all and going on and on about how hot he was. She even sent her friend pictures of him, not pictures from social media, either. These were photos she took herself, secretly, like some kind of obsessed stalker. There were shots of him standing in the kitchen, napping on the couch, even walking down the street. After I told my boyfriend about all of it, we decided to stop spending time at my place altogether. Now, I mostly stay at his apartment, and honestly, it is nicer having our privacy there. Still, I am pissed off about the whole thing. I should not have to give up my own apartment just because my teenage sister has zero respect for boundaries, or for me, for that matter. It is not even like she is some dumb kid. She is 18 years old. She should know better by now. I am at a complete loss here. I have yelled at her about this more than once, and it clearly did not sink in. I feel like if she was not my sister, she would have been out the door a long time ago. But since she is my sister and just moved to this city, it feels wrong to just throw her out without at least trying to fix it. I am stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I warn her again, even though it will probably do nothing? Do I tell my parents, even though I already know they will take her side like they always do? Or do I sit her down with my boyfriend and have him spell it out for her that there is no chance in hell anything will ever happen between them? Leaving is not an option. I have got a lease that locks me in for the next year, and there is no way I am losing money just because my sister cannot control herself. She could not afford this place on her own anyway, so in the end, she would have to leave if I left. When I laid it all out for my parents, they actually took me seriously, which shocked me. I was ready for them to defend her, but I guess her reputation already took a hit. Turns out, at a family reunion I missed, Hannah tried pulling the same nonsense with my cousin's boyfriend. She was all over him right in front of everyone, even with my cousin sitting right there. My aunts, uncles, and even my parents saw it all. That little stunt embarrassed my parents in front of the whole family, and their precious reputation took a hit. So now, they are finally willing to admit Hannah has a problem. They even took her car away for a while after that, which I had no idea about. They also admitted they do not want her messing up my relationship because they think my boyfriend is some kind of perfect catch, good-looking, white, studying law, and they want grandkids who get into good schools. So, they asked me to give her another shot after they talked to her. I said I would think about it, but deep down, I knew they were not going to do much of anything. Sure enough, the very next day, she posted some garbage on Facebook about how you cannot let other people stand in the way of true love. That is when I decided I had enough. I sat her down and told her point blank, cut this crap out right now, or you are out. I told her I knew everything she had been up to, and it made me sick. I reminded her that I had been generous enough to let her live with me, and this was how she repaid me. Even if she could not help having a crush, she needed to act like a damn adult and show some respect for me, for my relationship, and for my home. To my own surprise, I managed to stay calm, which is not usually my strong suit. I told Hannah she was right about one thing: she was technically an adult now, and that meant she had to deal with real adult consequences. She could either straighten up, or she could end up with her stuff packed in her but sent back to our parents' house. Hell, if she pushed me far enough, I might even lose my temper and teach her a lesson myself. She could not just pull her usual crap and expect to get away with it anymore. She tried to act all smug and said I could not legally kick her out, like she had been watching too many videos online about tenants' rights. Then she said she was going to keep being herself around my boyfriend, whether I liked it or not. That was the final straw for me. I told her, plain as day, she had 30 days to find somewhere else to live. After that, she was out, no exceptions. She stomped off, slamming the door like a toddler throwing a tantrum. First thing I did was call the landlord to double-check what I already knew: she was not on the lease, so they did not care if I kicked her out. She was basically a guest in my place, and guests can be told to leave. I also called my parents to let them know this was not up for debate. They seemed a little stunned, like they could not believe their perfect daughter was causing so much trouble. My mom tried to blame the bad influences of the big city, like she thinks every college kid turns into a wild animal the minute they leave home. Whatever helps them sleep at night. I decided not to drag my boyfriend into it any further. A few people I talked to made a good point: this was really between me and Hannah. I did not want him caught in the middle, even though he had already offered to talk to her before. Honestly, I did not see the point. If my own warning did not work, him saying something would not either. That said, I did not trust her one bit, so I bought a small nanny camera and set it up in the living room. I wanted to make sure she did not break anything out of spite. Plus, I would have evidence if she tried to make up some wild story about either me or my boyfriend. At this point, nothing would surprise me. I keep thinking about how we ended up here, and I still cannot figure out if Hannah turned into a spoiled brat because my parents never told her no, or if something deeper is going on with her. Either way, I am tired of trying to figure it out. I did her a favor by letting her live here, and this is how she repaid me. That is pretty much where things stand. Hopefully, she gets out without any more drama, but with Hannah, you never really know. Thanks to anyone who took the time to hear me vent. Edit: I have been staying at my boyfriend's place since all this went down, so I have not seen much of Hannah in person. My parents told me she would be out by the end of the week. Meanwhile, her Facebook has been a full-on meltdown. It is post after post about how life is so unfair, how nobody understands her, how you cannot even trust your own family, and how her life is totally ruined. I went ahead and hid her posts from my feed. I do not need that drama in my life right now. I am just gonna relax with my boyfriend and watch some cartoons or something. Oh, and I already handed her the official eviction paperwork, so there is no backing out of it now. Thanks again to everyone who gave advice. And for those who got worked up over the fact that I mentioned my parents think my boyfriend is a catch because he is white, let me clear that up. I am not white. I am Asian. And I do not care one bit about my boyfriend's race. I love him because of who he is, not because of what box he checks. My parents, on the other hand, they are old school Asian, and they have their own outdated ideas about what makes someone good enough. In their eyes, my boyfriend being white, good-looking, and going to law school makes him some kind of golden ticket. They honestly think I will never do better, and that is their problem, not mine. I do not agree with that way of thinking at all, and it is part of why I keep my distance from them most of the time. If you are one of the people sending me private messages about it, save your energy. I do not share their views, and there is nothing I can do to change how they see the world. Thanks. Update: my sister Hannah, who is 18, keeps trying to go after my boyfriend, who is 24. I will admit, my opinion of my parents went up just a little bit after all this, because they actually backed me up when I told them she had to go. They did not argue with me, they did not blame me, they just sort of accepted it. They were pretty quiet about it, but they did not fight me, so that is a win in my book. I made sure to be there when Hannah packed up her stuff, just in case she tried to sneak off with anything of mine. I am pretty sure my parents are embarrassed by the whole thing, not just because of what she did to me, but also because she pulled the same crap with our cousin's boyfriend too. It is finally sinking in that her behavior is out of control. In a couple weeks, I am planning to visit home to sit down with my parents and have a real talk about Hannah. They need to figure out what is going on with her before she gets her own place one day and takes this mess to someone else's doorstep. Since I have been at my boyfriend's apartment, I have not seen much of her. The nanny camera showed she did not break anything, which was a relief. What she did do was post a whole lot of whining online. First, she filled Facebook with complaints about how mean and unfair I am. Then she posted something dramatic about being homeless because her crazy sister threw her out. She even asked people to text her if they could help her find somewhere to live. Most of her little teenage friends chimed in calling me all kinds of names, but my cousin B stepped in and shut that down real quick. B told her point blank that if she had kept her hands off other people's boyfriends, she would still have a roof over her head. Apparently, even her friends liked B's comment because after that, Hannah stopped posting. Next, she tried to drag my boyfriend into it. Even though we have a rule about not friending each other's family on social media, Hannah still found a way to message him. She told him she was so hurt, and that he was the only one who could talk some sense into me. She even hinted that if he helped her out, she would make it worth his while. He told me about it right away, but a couple hours later, curiosity got the best of me, so I asked if I could read the messages myself. He was kind of hesitant at first, but then he let me see. That is when I found out he had actually answered her, he just had not mentioned it. His response made me love him even more. He told her straight up that I was his girlfriend and that he supported my decisions 100%. He said she had no business asking him to take sides, and then he threw in that he hoped to be her brother-in-law someday. That part made my whole day. He even gave her a lecture about how her behavior was not cute, and if she kept acting that way, the only guys she would attract would be losers. I seriously love that man. Now, me and him are talking about our next step. Either he moves in to take over Hannah's half of the rent, or we just find a whole new place when my lease is up.